ESL Open Cup Korea. And it's a banger of a series to start us off. In the top left-hand corner, our blue Zerg player. And we're going to kick things off with Rogue. He's taking on the red Terran in the bottom left in Oliveira. As we get set to rumble into a whole bunch of action throughout the day, of course, expecting to see some good things. Expecting some good fun. Let's drop an SCV in to building the wall off on the other side. We get that started, we get that ready. We get that set to go as well. So Depot is going to be finishing in just a moment. A couple of drones still on the way out. Our SCV in production as well. Barracks will go down. The refinery starts up as well. I'm just going to get that on the go right there. So that gets going too. And again, the spawn pool coming up. Everything looking fairly normal on the Terran side, but that spawn pool first could maybe suggest some aggression on the side of Rogue. So that's a possibility here that we're already going to be keeping our eyes on that chance of aggression from the Zerg player. Something that might develop as obviously otherwise his overlords are just spreading out and getting to kind of where they're meant to be. So that part of this is all looking fairly normal. And we'll see what Oliveira wants to bring to the table. Is he going to go triple CC, or are we going to go for some kind of a double gas opener? These are things which are probably more likely to dictate the kind of next few minutes of the game rather than what the Zerg does. Even with the pool first, this is still just pool hatch and then eventually gas. So it's going to be some link production, sure, but this isn't like a rush to tech. This doesn't seem like a rush to roaches and aggression. There's going to be a little bit of link harass, a little bit of a faster queen, and then just like I say, going from there and figuring that out. One comes over to this third hatch location as well. We'll be putting that down straight away. Again, the power of going gasless here. As the SCV comes by to scout, and the few lings are going to latch themselves on top of it. Obviously, that's also just a thing where now the Terran player's away. It's like, okay, well, he was going to see the fact that it was a hatch relate anyways, but now he just knows it's pool first. Once you know it's pool first, you maybe need to be a little bit more careful with some of your early units. For example, the Reaper doesn't want to be out of position, but you also saw the lings pulling back with the SCV. So Oliveira is actually in a very good position in terms of knowing what's up and knowing what's happening. So that's actually pretty cool as well. He knew where the lings were at, so the Reaper could maybe have potentially actually gone across and tried to harass, because the SDV saw it. Now the lings are all just kind of sitting at home. They're waiting on that high ground. And this game will indeed develop into that next phase of it. And we just start to figure out what exactly that means. Like I say, especially kind of what the Terran player Oliveira is going to do into this mid-game. Because it is double gas. So we're not playing like a pure kind of just gas. One gas, triple CC. It's not super eco-focused. I'm sure it might be at some point. We might still throw down a third command center, but it is double gas-based to begin with, and that means starport's on the way early. Reaper hops up, hops down. Those lings sometimes can sneak around the back of the Reaper and stop it jumping down again, but Oliveira gets away with it this time. Of course, Rogue is still on no gas, so Rogue is completely gasless here. He's going to be extremely queen-heavy. The queens are going to be a majority of his defense. He's actually only got 3 out and building a 4th. I'd expect him to keep on adding more because, I mean, obviously right now just droning, but those queens are going to be the only thing that's really good for him super early in the game. If Oliveira medevac on the way, he actually kept on the barracks on the reactor, right? So he gets a couple more marines out. I guess medevac on the way. If this was some kind of like committed halberd attack, I'd actually be very scared for Oliveira because I don't for Rogue, because I don't think he'd have enough queens to necessarily hold that back or anything. Like if an attack hit in like 30 seconds. The only tech that's going to hit is going to be, what, a medevac and marines, and I think the handful of queens we've got are probably going to be okay enough against that. So, Oliveira, as he does now start his third CC, he'll be able to move that into position fairly shortly. As the medevac goes away in a moment, it looks as though we are going to move forwards. There's an overlord there that we can go and try grab. So get rid of that, and that's already going to put Rogue on not quite a supply block, but it would have been a few seconds earlier. So medevac gets the overlord, and now we begin to move up the left-hand side. As the additional barracks come in, you see Oliveira really setting up for that mid-game now. With the triple CC going to be available to him, he's going to have to continue to add on production, probably barracks 4 and 5 pretty soon after the 2 and 3. Once you got that third CC up and everything, obviously that, again, just getting all of the production online is usually priority, as the medevac does not make it in, so Rogue is getting away without even having to do too much defensively here, which is, of course, incredible on his point of view. Medevac still back out in the center. Stimpak coming through. Marines and Medevacs on the way. A couple more engineering bays coming up from Oliveira as well. Continue to bring those out as the Medevac boosts over toward the right-hand side. The Marines will unload toward the high ground. To be fair, this Medevac's mostly just cruising to maybe grab a creep tumor or so. If not a creep tumor or so, then maybe try and grab an overload or something. These Marines loading the Medevacs here. Going to go boosting up the left again. Oh, what's up, M. Ganning? Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, everyone. I'm on a 2-minute delay, hence the late welcome, but it's the ESL Open Cup Korea. So we actually have ourselves 3 Medevacs. Not completely full. This is kind of 2 Medevacs and Marines with a 3rd Medevac for extra healing. So this is actually going to be very scary because we still don't have Ling speed. Lose an Overlord supply block now. I mean, yeah, those Lings don't have Ling speed right now, and Oliveira's going to be licking his lips. He's going to get a great fight here. Now Ling speed finishes, but so many of the Lings are already dead. And Rogue, I thought he gotten away with this greed, but Oliveira just kind of waiting and continuing to build Marines. Finally strikes, and strikes in such a way that his opponent was absolutely not ready for it. A few more Lings showing up. Another Queen goes down. Target fire. No transfusion able to hit. As we are going to, I was going to say, potentially lose a Medevac, but we don't even lose that. 14 dead drones. All the Lings killed off. Both Medevacs out alive. I mean, this really was a dream start. As the scan comes down again, a couple of creep tumors will be knocked away at once more. One-on upgrades and bailing speed are coming about, by the way, as additional drones still coming through. The infestation pit is also coming up currently. Means we'll go stimming forward. Creep tumors that we can maybe get rid of. Extra Lings and Banes still coming about in these Marines. Gonna take the trades. Target fires down a few Banelings just for good will. Good bit of micro there, as wouldn't have minded seeing these Medevacs maybe getting home, get repaired, and then coming back, but honestly, this push is already on its way, and Oliveira does not want to slow down, so he is just going to keep pressing the issue. Baneling speed is not ready yet, so these Banes are going to continue to be very targetable, very easily denied, and if we can't really roll these Banelings into this army, and I don't think Oliveira really cares. There's a 1 Baneling left. A couple of them do get on top of the tanks, to be fair, but the Marines leave the tanks alone because they know if there's no Banelings left over, it doesn't really matter. They can then just fight the Lings after. However, they actually run out of HP, these Marines, and the Medevac healing just about enough to kind of keep a couple alive. Rogue actually gets a cleanup as he got to wrap around those Marines in full, and maybe Oliveira should have lifted and backed away from that one. Maybe that was the moment to say, you know what, let's come back again in a few more moments or something. Marines, tank, Medevacs, they're just going to load up, come over that right-hand side. So Oliveira just wants to keep up the pressure. Don't blame him. It's already gone very well for him. Continuing the pressure like this is only going to be a fantastic way to continue his setup in this game. And potentially take the first game of the day for us here in the Open Cup Korea. As our Marines begin to move up to the top. With a couple of drones going down. It's annoying as well. Let's go 4th base, and you know, as a Zerg, you don't typically let your 4th base be denied mining-wise. We're going to get away with everything as well. So great unsiege timing from Oliveira. Gets out well I say well before, but honestly it was a pretty comfortable getaway, right? He didn't lose a lot of HP, so he got out pretty easily. Be able to make something of a mistake. Well, a couple of things get picked off. Our Queen's still getting pushed up. Here come the Banes trying to roll down and towards this. Tank fire going to be trying to do something as well. These Banes still getting absolutely blasted, and Marines are going to hold their own. And potentially now takes out an Overseer, pushes up the high ground. Going to get into the creep tumor. Just getting into a better and better and better position currently. Thanks, Soldier. Just by those rocks. Again, 2-2 on the way up on both sides. Hive coming in, Lurgaden coming through. A few Marines still going to be sitting there. The tank fire and Ling Bane getting pushed back. Just pulling away also. As I wouldn't mind now Burrows once more. And a couple of these Banes get picked off again. Love the play from Oliveira, just slow going, no rush. Just kind of letting things kind of come about. Lovely wouldn't mind on the left side. Liberators are going to do a lot here as well. The tanks are great. The bio's off creep. GG has to be called. Too much greed from Rogue early in the game gives Oliveira huge damage and a huge lead. Don't even need to use the Wardy downtime convo breakers just yet, as we have in the top left the blue Zerg player. This is Rogue. Takes on the red Terran in the bottom right corner of the map. We have Oliveira. Game 2 of our best of 3. As we kick this off and look to see what the plan is going to be. Oliveira opening in a pretty fun way that previous game, and ending up on a fairly fun setup in general. And then Rogue just being a little bit too greedy, and Oliveira at first didn't feel like he was going to be able to punish that greed with the first medevac drop. I was not loving it. Like, man, there's so many things he could have done that would have been great, but obviously he just didn't, wasn't set up to do those. And then obviously Oliveira hits him with the stim and the 3 medevacs. Even that third medevac, it may not have had many marines in it, but just actually the healing off the third medevac can sometimes make the difference in being able to just stand there and fight. So that could have been maybe something to note, but in the end it was not really that impactful. It didn't come down to healing, just a possibility that never really arose. Hatch goes down, gas and pool coming up, Reaper and the Orbital coming in. Nancy coming in, a few links coming up, a couple queens on the way about as well. So again, all of that on the goes. Let's see a little grenade going down, a couple lings getting shot at. CC's coming up. Extra Vax just finishing in then as Oliveira gets himself set up. Third CC is already quickly on the way this time as well, so no messing around this game when it comes to getting established on the third CC. It's a little bit less aggressive perhaps from Oliveira, but a little bit more eco-focused, and as Rogue plays into that link speed, I think overall the builds have worked out really well for Oliveira. He was a bit more on the aggressive side in the game where Rogue was a bit greedy and he was able to punish. In this game, Rogue is playing a bit more down the standard line, and that standard line is going to go up against the greed of Oliveira, and it doesn't really look as though Rogue, now he's got link speed but he didn't go back into gas, there's nothing Rogue can really do to punish Oliveira. So Oliveira, I think, has had great build choices here game 1 and game 2, definitely putting himself into a strong position just off the back of those. As Reaper will continue, head down back home, join up with a few marines that are starting to spawn in. Our factory done, looks as though we're waiting to build a starport. We just now got 100 gas. I imagine we're going to go probably just straight into reactor, and I guess this is something of a 3cc 2-1-1, so still kind of fairly similar to the last game. These marines split on either side makes it difficult for the Ling to see just how many marines are coming into play, which is obviously tough. The Queens, drones, the Overlord all coming about. We have a double evolution chamber on the way up as well. Eva Chamber's obviously going to finish shortly. The extra drones are going to be on the way in. A couple of queens coming about as well. Everything setting up at the moment. Back about to be done again. The Marines in the tank going to be building. As our medevacs pop, this is really the important moment because we're going to see these Marines lift up and get across the map. Currently just going to go get this Overlord though. Takes that out, clears up some of the way. And obviously just means there's a little bit less vision available on the map now for our Zerg players. So Rogue will be able to see a little less as you get those medevacs boosting up to the top. Queen's going to get a couple more of these group tumors. Queens are going to come across. Burrow will start as well. Baneling Nest is on its way down that layer. Still halfway done. Additional barracks building. 1-1 upgrades coming through. Picks off another creep tumor as we do see the Marines medevacs joining together. Obviously, Oliveira still trying to apply that pressure on the left side. Love the defensive tank. Rogue is such a cheeky player and absolutely will try and run by and cause trouble. So that high ground tank is already really well set to just give Oliveira a good time playing defense, not having to worry too as much about it at least. Obviously, you still have to defend properly. There's still going to be more than just one tank going to solve, but it puts you in the right direction. You know, and depending on the size of the run by, even just having that tank firing away, it could clean it up naturally. As now, you know, you just pull the SCVs away, a few tank shots, the lings go down. Like I say, it depends on what kind of run by it is, but overall, the idea is that it's just nice to see that there. That's 1-1 upgrades and combat shields still building up on the side of Oliveira. Mine goes down, a couple of Banelings taking damage, still got the 1-1 coming through, combat shields halfway done. The armory just finished up from Oliveira as well, which means we can open the way toward 2-2 upgrades. Some Marines coming out, just going to rally out to the center. Combat shield is about to finish. Marines and medevac still coming through. Siege tank is building. I think it's going to get a wrap around and just going to grab a couple of Marines. And now we're going to go running into this third base. So there's the run by. Tank not on the high ground anymore. And we have some Marines in the center here, but the Banes are going to crash through massively. 16 workers. Lings actually get rid of the tank as well. Fourth base likely cancel those other few Lings. We'll see in a sec. Forward base here from Rogue does go down, as now he's got to figure out dealing with that army, but at least he's going to do it on creep. Now, as Lings die, so the leftovers don't do much else, although more Lings going across the map. That CC did survive as well, by the way, so the fourth base may actually get online here still for Oliveira. Depends on what this next little Ling run by will do. There's a very good chance that does find the cancellers. These Marines are not going to be enough. Still a gaping hole in the wall off as well, so the natural is accessible. The main is going to be somewhat accessible, especially as the Bane show up. They can bust down some depots and they can create access points. There's a lot of SCVs going down. Oliveira is really hard pressed to find something on the other side of the map. Queens transfusing each other. Banelings crashing in. And now the natural expansion on the other side is completely being wrecked. I think Oliveira has lost control of this game. I don't think his push is strong enough to keep going. The damage he's taken is huge, and I think Rogue realizing as well, he's like, okay, I've got you basically all in. I can bring these units back home to guarantee the defense. And he didn't even need it as the Banes crashed in one more time, and Rogue devastatingly finds a way to round this up. In the top right-hand side, it is going to be our blue Zerg player. Currently tied this series up 1-1. We have Rogue up against the red Terran. In the bottom left from Weibo Games, it is Oliveira. So, game 3 of our series. Hatchery goes down the natural expansion from Rogue. Get that set up. wait to see Oliveira's plan, because obviously that was a little bit of a tell last time around as well. So we saw that third CC coming down, so we saw just kind of the setup he was going for much earlier. Reaper, Orbital, Command Center, all coming up. Obviously waiting to see soon whether we get a second gas or if we're just going to continue through on one gas once that factory has come down. Factory will be the priority. There's a Reaper. Comes across the map. So Reaper heading across the other side. Link speed, couple queens, couple lings all coming in. We do see a couple lings going to start running after that Reaper. Just going to see the ling going down. Speed halfway done, just going to be seeing a queen, an overlord coming about, and it is a third CC from Oliveira once again off the one gas. Here it comes over, Hatch will take some damage, couple Hellions continuing through, Command Center is indeed on its way. So we get that triple CC fully set up here. Grenade goes down, but obviously there's no follow-up onto that Crypt Demon. Hellions popping and start journeying across the other side. Nice little scouting from the Ling, so Rogue is going to see fully what this is, the double racks again, so he's going to know those Marines are going to be on the map. Four drones coming up, the Queen on the way. Stimpak's about halfway done. Additional Marines and SCVs all coming about here. Reactor is about to finish. Down a creep tumor on the edge there, as we still have the Medivacs, Marines, and Stimpak all coming about. Again, the engineering bays are coming up as well. And the drones continue up, and a couple of Evo chambers continue through also. Need to bring that into play at the moment. Plus one missiles, plus one carapace coming up. Overlords continue to build. Lair, Rotrar, and Hatchery continue to come through the 1-1. Coming up on the side of Oliveira as well, so we continue to get that going. As the Marines will unload from these Medivacs. We go pushing upwards. A couple creep teamers already going to get scanned and shut down. And we got a bunch of that creep. There goes the Overlord as well. Come back over the left-hand side. Maybe a scan here. Clean up more creep is almost always a big positive. Going to get an Overlord if nothing else. Not bad, just running around. Marines taking control, and that's what they're meant to do. Take control, push the Zerg player back that little bit, get some damage done themselves. That's exactly what we're seeing so far, so moment a job well done. Medivacs boost over that right-hand side. Still got the 1-1 upgrades and the combat shields coming about as well. Marines will unload. Tanks coming over. Marines actually going to load up. The Queen's continuing to make a push. And as Medivac's going to back away once again. Things get there. A couple of Medivacs forced to lift. Ravagers coming through. The Roach is coming in as well. Still got the 1-1 missile upgrades, and the Roach speed continue to produce through. This army of Rogue. Set up in the center. Ling's going to be there. Hellions pushing back a little. Roach Ravagers still moving through. The Medivac's going to unload the Marines. Drilling Claws is on the way from Oliveira. Still got the +1 armor finishing. And the 2-2 now fully operational as we get that underway. The Lingers are going to run in here. They're going to try a wrap around, and they are going to find the tank and the Marines. Runs away. I wonder if it would have been better to just continue on to those Marines. I think he would have gotten the majority of the Marines on the left. Tank's trying to see his Rogue is maxed, and he is sending it here on this Roach Ravager time. 66 drones only. If this doesn't work, he's in trouble. But having got one tank on the left side is already amazing. Any tank you're missing here defensively as Oliveira is going to hurt us. It does feel like some of the Ravagers lagged behind, and it took a while to get towards these next tanks with the Biles, but we are going to get there now. Do we have enough kind of front line to kind of deal with these Marines? We need Roaches to protect the Ravagers. All the Ravagers going down, don't get me wrong. Oliveira has lost a fair amount as well, but with purely Roaches, tanks are going to become a much better defense because there's not going to be any Biles to clean them out. Jumping onto the factory. A few Marines going to stem forward. This Roach going to have to turn around. Couple of depots on this high ground going to get piled out as well, so we continue to work our way through those. So we do have Roaches able to force the Marines to lift back up. Looks as though Rogue has done enough here. This Rogue comes back forward. It's going to go after depots, going to go after that orbital. The depots continue to drop, and this really seems as though Rogue is going to win this one out as he breaks the third base. Fourth base is up. I'm not sure how long it would last, but realistically, there's not really a way to get your defenses over there. As the Medivac is going to evacuate the siege tank further away, but that means the depots will go down at the front. And like I say, it's just further to get you to protect that fourth. Although Rogue's not gone to that fourth base yet. He knows it's there. He's just deciding to keep the pressure on the natural instead. So choosing to stay here instead of going elsewhere. Now he decides he's going to go run over to the fourth. However, that is a planetary fortress, and that will deal some damage back. And now the Marines are going to come chasing in, catching Ravagers that are in the back here. Rogue going to turn around once again. We're going to actually now work our way through these depots. Okay, so Oliveira is still going to be losing out big time. Has relanded the third base during this. However, Rogue is also starting 2-2 upgrades. He's also just recognizing ways in which he can make this a little bit better for himself. The Rays are going to siege up. The Lings are running forward. A couple corrosive Biles coming down. Liberator still taking shots. Roaches, Ravagers pushing on through. Marines and tanks kind of holding on. That Liberator helping out a lot as well. Rogue actually takes a bad fight here. This was maybe one step too far with the worse off upgrades, the tech units set up defensively. This one does not go his way. CVs transfer over to the third tank flyers. Again, our 2-2 upgrades coming about. Our Roaches on the way. Medivacs load up again. Roach Ravager Queen just going to be there to make sure those Medivacs get shoved away for the moment. Well, Oliveira begins the rebuild as our third base is back on track. Obviously, still lost the fourth. They're still missing out. Vex pulling away. I mean, Rogue's pretty much maxed again. This time he does have 2-2 upgrades. He needs to start dealing with these tanks. He's letting them do so much damage before he even regains. He's kind of split. There's so many siege tanks, man. He's going to get on top of them, though. By coming up that right-hand side ramp, he actually gets onto quite a few of them quite quickly, so those tanks will start to take losses. And it looks as though this time Rogue is maybe on enough. I mean, that's all the tanks killed, if nothing else. That's a great start. Corrosive Valves will get rid of this siege tank in the natural as well. Looks as though we will continue this fight. There's a little drop across the map, but we are handling that. GG, says Oliveira, and Rogue takes game 3 of the best of 3. 2-1 victory for him. Pretty fun series, actually.